Welcome to the Explainer. Let's dive right into this because today we are decoding the invisible language of media. Have you ever watched a film or maybe generated an AI clip and wondered why a perfectly shot scene just feels kind of lifeless? Or on the flip side, why a seemingly simple moment on screen can literally make your heart race? Well, the secret is almost never in the dialogue. Instead, it's being whispered to you by an unseen director. Today, we're exploring how color grading, lighting, and even musical keys act as a silent, universal toolkit that completely controls our emotions. So, how does a director tell you what to feel without saying a single word? To really get this, I want you to picture a super generic concept. Imagine searching a stock photo site for something ordinary, like an Indian student eating. You'll find thousands of perfectly well-lit, sharp images that show exactly what you searched for. But they don't make you feel anything, right? They're purely informational. The real question is, how does a director take that mundane action and transform it into a moment of profound cinematic tension or sweeping romance without changing the subject at all? The answer actually starts with our biology. Look at this incredible quote from a 2024 academic study in the Journal of Education, Humanities, and Social Sciences. The renowned director Zhang Yimou points out that color isn't just an artistic choice, it's a physical trigger. Before your brain even has time to process the plot of a scene, your body is already reacting to the color palette. It immediately arouses our emotional fluctuations from a physiological perspective. It is an immediate, visceral reaction. Moving into Section 1, Color as a Character, the visual language. Once filmmakers tap into this physiological trigger, color stops being just some background element. It steps right into the foreground and becomes a silent character in the film itself, deeply shaping the story and the character arcs. Let's break down a classic example highlighted in that Haas research, Forrest Gump. Think about the scene where Lieutenant Dan is recovering in the nursing home. Did you ever notice the curtains in that room are a very distinct pink? Why? Because that pink offers us a subconscious emotional comfort against the intense anxiety and trauma of the wounded soldiers. Later on, when Jenny returns to her hometown, we see pink curtains and pink roses in Forrest's room. That tone is literally acting as a character, delivering emotional safety directly to the audience. This careful manipulation is what we call color balance, adjusting the intensity and proportion of colors to create distinct atmospheres. Legendary cinematographer Vittorio Storaro explained this perfectly. He noted that in cinematic storytelling, color expresses sympathy and feelings in the exact same way that light and shadows symbolize the fundamental conflict between life and death. It's a pretty powerful way to think about it. Section 2. Guiding the viewer's eye and controlling attention. You see, color doesn't just make us feel. It tells us exactly where to look. Directors use it as a literal spotlight to actively control our focus. Contrast forces our focus, and there is absolutely no better example of this than Schindler's List. The film is famously shot in stark black and white, creating this grim, suffocating reality. But then we see the little girl in the red coat. It's the only color in the entire film. Using such a visually impactful hue forcefully draws our attention entirely to her. In that moment, the color red isn't just an aesthetic. It symbolizes fresh life and the fragile hope of survival amidst total darkness. It visually pushes the plot right to its climax. Contrast control is just as powerful. By adjusting the difference between the light and dark parts of an image, you can completely rewrite the genre. High contrast creates sharp, stark differences, right? That naturally heightens tension and uncertainty, making it the absolute go-to for suspense and horror. On the flip side, low contrast gives you soft, warm atmospheres. It completely removes those harsh shadows, making it the perfect visual environment for romantic plots or tender moments. Research on color management also shows us that color controls the actual rhythm of the story. A film with a single tone feels gentle and slow, but a film with jumping, contrasting colors feels fast and intense. The research points to Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer as a prime example. Nolan cleverly combines nonlinear storytelling with stark color contrast. He uses black and white versus color to visually separate Oppenheimer's subjective perspective from the objective, political perspective of Lewis Strauss. That color contrast makes a highly complex narrative instantly clear without a single word of explanation. All right, Section 3. Prompting the AI director, the invisible touch. We've talked a lot about traditional cinema, but how do these artistic rules apply to modern technology, like AI video generation? Well, the exact same rules apply. You just have to know how to speak the language. According to the A-Screens blog on cinematic AI prompting, the biggest mistake creators make is describing objects instead of the atmosphere. Look at this comparison. A weak prompt just says, a woman sitting in a coffee shop. That gets you generic stock footage. But a strong prompt says, medium shot of a woman sitting alone, warm light through a rain-streaked window, muted warm color grade. See the difference? The experienced creator is feeding the AI the emotional tone, the specific lighting, and the post-production style. To get truly cinematic results from AI, you have to use cinematic vocabulary. Words like shallow depth of field, golden hour, cinematic lighting, muted color grade, or a teal and orange grade. These specific terms are tied to millions of high-quality film stills in the AI's training data. By feeding the model these specific signals, you are literally forcing the AI to apply a director's touch to your generation. Section 4. The audio parallel. Mood is universal. What's super fascinating here is that this subconscious emotional toolkit isn't just visual. To prove that mood construction is truly universal, let's look at a cross-sensory parallel: music. Just like a color grade, the musical key a song is written in instantly triggers a physical emotional response. Check out this data from the Sparta School of Music on popular Hindi songs. Tu Mi Ho is played in E minor. That minor key creates a feeling of deep emotional sorrow. Now contrast that with Pela Nasha, played in G major. The major key creates this magical, uplifting feeling. The musical key is, quite literally, the color grade of the song. Section 5. Crafting the final scene, putting it all together. Let's act as our own director for a second and completely transform that boring stock photo concept we talked about at the very beginning, the generic student eating. Here is the complete workflow from A-Screens to make that scene cinematic. Step 1. We decide the shot type. Let's go with a medium close-up to build intimacy. Step 2, we structure our 7-element prompt. Now, step 3 is the absolute biggest upgrade you can make, adding a lighting description. We won't just say he's eating. We'll vividly describe dappled sunlight through a window, warm morning light, long shadows. Step 4 is camera movement, and step 5, we add our mood and grade, maybe a high-contrast, warm color palette. Suddenly, our generic student is the star of a profound, emotional cinematic moment. And this brings us to our ultimate takeaway, summarized beautifully by the Haas research. Whether you're adjusting color balance on a multi-million-dollar film set, carefully crafting a text prompt for an AI model, or picking a minor key for a guitar ballad, you are utilizing the exact same emotional technology. Applying these unwritten rules completely rewrites how an audience perceives your art. So here's a question to leave you with. How will you interpret the colors in the next movie you watch? The next time you fire up a streaming service, I challenge you to look past the actors in the dialogue. Look at the shadows. Look at the color of the curtains in the background. Ask yourself, what is the unseen director trying to make me feel right now? Once you learn to read the language of color and emotion, I promise you, you will never watch a movie the same way again. Thanks for learning with us on this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.